Well, today in the Pathway, we're in Hebrews chapter 2, and I'd like to look at the Try It section of the Pathway. Again, you can download that off the website or pick it up on Sunday. Try It, what it's referring to is where the verse ended, that Jesus came to free us from death, overcome spiritual forces, and specifically to give us aid, right? To give us aid. What does that mean? Well, a couple questions to think about or pray about. Where would you ask Jesus to give you aid in your current struggles? Maybe it's, I need to know that this meaningless suffering I'm going through can make me mature or more perfect. God, remind me that if you could become more perfect through suffering, that you've got a meaning in my suffering to make me more mature as well. Or maybe, again down in Try It, the third question, where do you need the confidence to approach life, knowing He knows what it's like to suffer or face temptation? Wow, yeah, He had the temptation to get off the cross. He had the temptation to bow down to Satan, and yet He kept trusting God and His Word. God, help me to have confidence in my trials and my challenges, to put my confidence in You. And maybe something you want to thank God for is the fact that He has become your propitiation. It mentions that in the Try It section. What's a propitiation? Well, on the Ark of the Covenant, there was a top section called the mercy seat, or the propitiation. It's the place that the angels looked down upon as if God's consequences or judgment was coming upon our wrongdoing. When you put the blood of an animal into the mercy seat or the propitiation, it would absorb the consequences of God's wrath on us so that we could know for sure we're forgiven and all wrongdoing is covered. Maybe that's something to pray. God, thank You that You have covered my guilt and covered my shame. And my identity with You, my peace with You, is now based on what You've done for me, not what I do for You. Maybe pray those with your group on your own as you're studying the passage together. Meanwhile, read Hebrews chapter 3 for next week because, as you saw this week, the assumptions the writer makes about how much we know about the Old Testament is sometimes a little presumptuous. So go ahead and read chapter 3 so you have at least a framework in your mind as we dive in together. See you next week.